so let's be very kind and mindful. We have one more speaker that's going to be with us yet here, which is Vanessa King. She is an Action for Happiness board member. We've got some people in the house happy for her. And she is the author of a brand new book called The 10 Keys for Happier Living. She is also one of the few in the world who has actually completed her master's degree in applied positive psychology. So I want to have you give it up for Vanessa King.
Wow, I've been sitting down there for the last 3 days. It's kind of weird being up here now. But isn't this amazing? It's amazing. I mean, let's give it up to Lewis and Karen for their vision and for making this happen. Woo! So it's no small job, really, being almost the last speaker, because you've heard some amazing stuff, and you've heard some really top experts talking about what we can do to become happier, live happier lives, create happier societies, communities, schools, etc. So what I'm going to offer you today is really a framework, if you like, which you can use to kind of hang all the things that you've covered, all the things that you're taking away with you, and hopefully all of the things, the actions you're going to take as a result of today, these last 3 days. But mostly what I'm going to, how do I put this here? To this? Ah, yes. I'm going to offer you a great dream. Now, I represent Action for Happiness, the social movement, and where am I pointing it? Here. There we go. We're a social movement. We were founded in 2011. You might have heard from Richard, if you were here on Friday, Richard Layard, the professor of economics that founded us, or Mark, yesterday. And we're about, our community is about 1 million strong in 170 countries. And we want to grow that exponentially along with our WAHASU partners. And quite simply, our dream is to create a happier, a more caring world. And how we do that is we work in a number of ways. We work from the top down with governments and healthcare systems trying to influence policy and healthcare provision. We work from the middle out with organizations and with schools, helping build skills and awarenesses around happiness and happier working lives, happier education for whole lives. But a lot of what we do is helping individuals like you make a difference in your own lives and for other people and for your communities. And how we do that is by taking the evidence. I mean, a lot of people have spoken about how the psychological research, the neuroscientific research, the health research that has exploded in the last 20 years. And I don't know whether any of you are familiar with academic papers, but you know they're not necessarily that easy to kind of digest. So what we've done is try and take that research and make it easier and inspiring and practical and creative for people to take action. We go. So what I kind of like to think about what we do is really, based on the research, unpack for people, help them explore what happiness is for them, and importantly, what it takes. And how we do that is our framework, which we call the 10 Keys to Happier Living. And you'll notice that the acronym for the 10 keys is Great Dream. So I'm going to give you a kind of quick exploration with these, and I think you'll be able to see how they can connect to a lot of what we've heard over the last few days. So the first 5, if you like, I tend to think of as activities that we kind of do in the external. They're kind of externally sort of facing activities that influence how we feel on the inside. And the second 5, the dream, are more kind of internal states or habits of thinking and processes that influence how we are on the outside. So it's a kind of inside out and outside in model of happiness. But I know from having been with you guys over the last few days. So you're always up for an experiment. You up for an experiment right now? Maybe one fun one? Woo! Yes. Yes. I'm a Brit, you know this. Woo! It's not necessarily for me. so you're going to be in pairs. But before we start in your pairs, I want you to reflect back over these last 3 days. If you've been here for all 3 days, or today, if today's the only day you've been there. And I want you to think about one thing you've enjoyed, pleased about, grateful for. Just one thing. I know that's hard, but think about one thing, bring it to mind. Everybody got something? Okay, doesn't matter if it's big or small, doesn't matter. Now here's for part 2. Identify a pair, somebody to work with. Have you got somebody nearby you? Okay. We're going to call person A is going to be the person nearest the windows. Person B is going to be the person nearest there. Everybody got someone? Right. Now I'm going to, in a minute, I'm going to ask you to share one of the thing that you've just thought about, the thing you were pleased about, enjoyed, or grateful for over the last few days. And the other person is going to listen, but they're going to listen in a really special way. So pay attention, this is really important. So listeners, this is going to be, B's will be the first listeners. I want you to be what I call an active, curious listener. So obviously you're going to be listening to what the person's saying. But then I want you to simply ask a couple of curious questions. So if your partner shares, I just had this most fantastic vegan meal from one of the stands outside. You might say, well, what did you have? Where did you eat it? Who were you with? Just a couple of really simple questions. Got that? And like in the spirit of experimentation, notice what you notice. So really quickly do person B, active curious questions for person A, and then really quickly swap over. Go! Okay, so what was that like? What did you notice about what happened when you asked a couple of active and curious questions? What did you notice? You got more excited? Great. Other people, what else did you notice?
It wasn't really a surface conversation.
It was a more interesting conversation. Okay, thank you. You're more present, more engaged. Other things? You felt more connected. You felt inspired. Yeah. Yeah. And you often, did any of you find out more about the person and more about what they enjoyed? You found out more about them, more to connect to? Yeah. And how did it feel when you were listened to in that way? How did it feel when somebody asked you a couple of active, curious questions? Grateful? Good? Why was it good? It just felt good. You felt heard. You felt heard. Did anybody feel like the other person the person that was asking you those questions was actually really interested in you? So how often do we listen in this way? Now, often we might listen, when somebody shares something that's happened to them, we might say, oh, that's great, you had a great dinner last night, really pleased for you. Now can we talk about what's for dinner tonight? Or what's the deadline that we're working on if we're at work? Or how about, oh, you had a great dinner last night. God, I'm a real foodie too. God, I had this amazing dinner. It was just fantastic. I know exactly how you feel. How would that make you as the sharer feel if I was saying that, if I was responding to you in that way? Taking the attention from them, putting it on me. Or how about this one? This is my favorite. Oh, you had a really great dinner last night. I know you're really, really careful. You really want to take care of your health at the moment. And I know you told me last week that you really wanted to lose weight. It's nice of it, but, you need to be, you really need to be careful. How often do we respond that way? And respond that way to people that we really care about. But the only way, this is Shelley Gable's research, the only way of responding when somebody shares something good with us, and we know that there's benefits from sharing, from thinking about, reflecting on our good things, the only way of responding is asking a few active, curious questions. It's the only way that builds and nurtures our relationships. Because what happens, I think Tal Ben-Shahar talked about, and I think Sonia Lieber-Mirsky talked about how when we experience positive emotions or pleasant emotions, that has a broaden and build effects. Barbara Fredrickson's work, broaden and build effects. Opens us up to other people. We're more open to options. We're more adaptable. We trust others more. And when we're doing that, and so that has this kind of physiological and psychological effect inside us. But when we share pleasant emotions with another person, just as that interaction you just had, that's having a similar effect for that person too. So it's helping them squeeze the most out of their positive moments. But there's more, because that cycle is not just happening in you two individually, it's happening between you. The neuroscientists call this brain coupling. And the effect is, because of the connection, is that effect is amplified. So there is more benefit from you both from that positive connection, that moment of positive connection. And we know that giving, the first key in the 10 Keys to Happier Living, is actually nothing to do with our own happiness. It's about giving, helping another person, other people. It's about their happiness, focusing on somebody else's happiness. And one of the most powerful ways you can give to another person is giving them a few moments of just clear, pure attention. I taught this skill in a business, big business in the UK, and I had two single parents who came to me afterwards, 3 weeks later, and said, I've been trying out that skill that you taught us with my teenager at home, and we haven't had a single argument in the last 3 weeks. Another manager said, I've had, just by improving the quality of attention that I give to my team members, they are more engaged than I've ever seen them before. Just those few moments of attention, not this normal sort of attention, just giving attention. So, and we know that the giving is really not just good for the other person, it's good for us too. So in that, what we've done there in that activity is really touched on 4 of the keys, if you like. So emotions in Dream is all about focusing on what's going well as well as what's going wrong, because we naturally do that. It's about our connections, how we nurture our connections. It's about giving to other people. And it's also about trying out and experimenting with other people, with new things, keeping learning new things, exercising that muscle in our heads. Because when we do that, it keeps our brain active, and it can be source of fulfillment and growth and creativity. So I'm just going to quickly flick through to one of the final keys, because they're telling me I'm running out of time, is the M in Great Dream is all about meaning. It's about how we feel connected and contribute to something bigger and beyond ourselves. And one of the things that will connect, I think, with the last tribe activity you're going to be doing, and might help you to both bring together some of the stuff that you've covered here and take it forward, is thinking about what are the sources of meaning in your own life. We know that people who have several sources of meaning are more resilient. We know that feeling a sense of meaning is important for happiness. And this is an activity I really encourage you to do. This is developed by Michael Steger at Colorado University. So he said, this activity, he said, go out over the next week or so, and I know you're going to be working in your tribes for a couple of weeks, think about over that time, if you had to take photos of things that were meaningful in your life, what would you take pictures of? Could be the thing directly, could be something that reflects that. He suggests maybe taking a dozen or so photos and then starting to whittle those down, thinking about what are the most important things, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 things. You can write about, journal about why those things are important, or better still, you can talk and share your pictures and hear about somebody else's pictures. I mean, this is mine, that's my partner's, my nephew's. It's a place in the world that I really love the sea. These are my really old friends. That's my collection of vintage china, which other people think is junk. I think it's beautiful. And that's my local community. And in the middle is my work, because I hope that through my work and through the work with Action for Happiness and all the work that you're going to do, is that you can contribute to not only your own meaning, but you can contribute to our, I hope, shared dream that we can indeed create a happier, more caring world. And so if you want to find out more, there's the book. It's coming out in the US in the autumn. I do have a few spare copies. But you can also find, go back? Oh my God, technology here. Yeah? Yeah? Happiness matters, as you've heard. Your action matters. So I hope you'll join us. Sign up, become part of our community. We're part of the Wahasu community. And you'll find lots of inspiration and ideas. And we hope that you'll have a great, happy lives. Thank you.